Last week we made a review for the Mi 11. Indeed, in our test, the Mi 11 performed pretty well, but after using it for more than a week, I finally decided to go back to the Mi 10 Ultra. Why? I'll explain. Note that this is going to be one of the few videos on the internet that will tell you to wait for the Pro version or the Mi 11 Ultra. Also, I would like to make it clear that the phone is still pretty good. We have already shown you enough test reasons in our reviews as to what's great about the Mi 11. However, after using it for a week, I feel it's necessary to share more details about the Snapdragon 888 flagship in order to give you a better picture of what to expect before you make your final decision to purchase this device. By the way, if you think the information that we are sharing is useful, please give us a thumbs up and click the bell icon for notifications to keep yourself updated on all our upcoming videos. If you want to see more comparison videos involving the Mi 11, please leave your comment down below. We will handpick the best models to compare with the Mi 11 in our future videos. The first big issue I have with the Mi 11 is the frequent crashes or shutdowns. In the past 1 week, the Mi 11 in my hand froze up and crashed once or twice per day for no reason. And from the feedback we collected, we found that such crashes were quite common among other users if they heavily used the phone for multitasking, and some units even shut down for no reason. It's actually pretty strange for the latest flagship model from an established brand to shut down randomly, especially considering how important the Mi series lineup is for Xiaomi. And our Mi 11 is not the only model with this problem. There are quite a few users who are experiencing the same issue. Although we could simply reboot the device, the issue left us feeling that the phone was unreliable. In addition to the issue of random shutdowns, so far we think the MIUI for the Mi 11 is not so stable due to poor software optimization. The phone is using a brand new Snapdragon 888 chipset, which could be why the optimizations are not perfect, but that's just our guess. Irrespective of the cause, the fact is that there are bugs on the Mi 11. For example, the camera app on the Mi 11 crashes sometimes. During our camera test, although the app was pretty enjoyable to use with enough shooting functions and a good fluid interface, it's pretty annoying when it randomly crashes during a shoot. And the gallery app was forced to run under the frame rate lock of 60 FPS, even though 120Hz was turned on. So when we opened the gallery and started to check our photo collection, the experience was not as smooth as what we would have in other apps. However, we did have a solution to this problem. You just have to switch off the setting of logger buffer sizes in developer options, and this solution should be able to unlock the 120Hz refresh rate in most apps. Besides, when some games were opened in the latest version of MIUI, the screen turned abruptly into noisy pixels and it was unable to display the game contents. To be honest, this wasn't found when loading all the games on the phone. For example, it didn't happen when loading games like PUBG Mobile, but strangely, it did pop up when loading titles like Genshin Impact. The last time we tried, it didn't display anything and only just informed us that it failed to open. We guessed the issue might only happen to certain models. That too occasionally, just like the software bugs that are prevalent only in some Mi 11 models. So it wasn't surprising that when we reinstalled the game, the problem just disappeared. So in addition to the bugs that we had on the Mi 11, we also collected some reports from other Mi 11 users. For example, some reports mentioned that their Mi 11 has a color bias when they open the anti-flicker mode for the display. And a few reports mentioned that the photo shot on the Mi 11 turned out greenish occasionally because of abnormal white balance recognition, or the Bluetooth connection might be disturbed when you're connected to a Wi-Fi connection. But I have to add that almost all the software problems that we mentioned here can be solved on the software level. Sometimes users just need to reboot their phones to fix them, or some bugs can be fixed with an upcoming software update. But we have no idea when Xiaomi will push the updates that will fix all the bugs that are currently faced by the Mi 11 users. And without a global version, the Mi 11 running the China version of MIUI probably is not very friendly for international users. So it's also part of the reason why we don't recommend the Mi 11 at this point. Even when the global version comes out, we still strongly recommend you to check some reviews about its software stability. Of course, we are also planning to give a comparison between these two versions and show you whether there is any improvement over the global version. Just stay tuned to our channel. Now let's focus on the Snapdragon 888. In the last video, we mentioned that the chipset easily heated up to over 50 degrees Celsius and required high power consumption when running at high performance. So far, these two issues haven't been solved. Here we guess the main problem is the Snapdragon 888 instead of the Mi 11, and probably it's hard to solve this effectively on the phones running the chipset. And compared to the Mi 10 Ultra, practically it's hard to say that we got better performance on the Mi 11, especially in gaming. We are more likely to encounter reduced clock CPU performance when it detects an overheating issue, which, well, was very likely to happen during heavy gaming. Before the Mi 11 was released, Qualcomm proudly claimed they upgraded the main CPU core, which is able to run at the excellent clock of 2.84 GHz. However, in our gaming test, we found that most of the time the main core actually didn't run at high frequency. Instead, the work was mainly given to the 3 mid-cores. Even so, we still got the result of poor cooling effect and high power consumption. As for the GPU performance, we should know that the GPU architecture is almost the same as the Snapdragon 865. Simply put, the new GPU is an overclocked version of the Snapdragon 865's GPU. And as gamers, we don't really care how companies have improved the GPU performance, as long as it can provide a good cooling effect for stable high performance. Unfortunately, the Snapdragon 888 on the Mi 11 can't. So in actual gaming, the performance improvement from the Snapdragon 865 is even harder to perceive. And if we count the excellent 2K, but the high power consumption display on the Mi 11, no doubt the Mi 10 Ultra has better battery performance with faster charging. So, if you're fond of the design and other upgrades of the Mi 11 itself, and you are able to live with its poor software optimization, it's still reasonable to buy the Mi 11. But if you have high expectations from the new Snapdragon 888, to be honest, it may not meet your expectations. Another reason that forced me to turn back to the Mi 10 Ultra is the conservative camera system on the new flagship. Compared to the Mi 10 Ultra, it's more like a downgraded unit, only keeping the same 108 megapixel main camera and the same 13 megapixel wide-angle camera, but removing the optical zoom camera and replacing the depth of field lens with the 50mm macro lens. In daily shooting, the all-round Mi 10 Ultra definitely can provide more possibilities, and for image quality, the Mi 11 also shows a little gap when compared to the Mi 10 Ultra. As for its appearance, although we like the light and thin design of the Mi 11, we still have little complaints about the early model's build quality. The loose buttons on the side and the edges of the leather-like cover sometimes remind me that it's not solid enough as a flagship phone. Meanwhile, when we play sound via the speakers, the vibrating issue of the back cover is more serious than the other models. It's probably not a problem for some people, but the vibration is just hard to ignore. So that's it. The reason why we made this video is to show you guys the complete picture of the Mi 11 on our channel. We found that there are a lot of reviews focused on the good aspects, but not really talking about its potential issues. It's pretty clear that Xiaomi has left a good amount of room for improvement on the upcoming Mi 11 Pro and the 11 Ultra based on the Mi 11. And indeed, the Mi 11 is a good model to start the journey of the 11 series. After this video, we just hope you guys have got a complete picture of the Mi 11 as a 2021 flagship. How do you like the Mi 11? Please share your thoughts and opinions with us in the comments below. Also, if you think the video was useful, please give us a thumbs up and click the subscribe button. It really means a lot to us to keep what we're doing. And we are going to bring more comparisons featuring the Mi 11 soon, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching. This is Kieran from Gizmochina, and we'll see you soon.